Am I the a-hole for calling my husband a disgrace after he said my miscarriage ruined his birthday? Advice needed. I miscarried yesterday afternoon around 12 p.m. I've never had a miscarriage before, and this baby was so wished for, so it's all so fresh, and I'm sobbing right now. So I apologize in advance if it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. My husband turned 27 yesterday. I, 26 female, was pregnant with mine and my husband's 27 male second child. Yesterday, I was 8 weeks pregnant. The day before yesterday, we saw a beautiful heartbeat flicking on the screen, and today, I'm devastated. I was playing with our 2-year-old when I felt pressure in my lower abdomen. Not long later, I noticed bleeding, and I let my husband know immediately that I had discomfort and bleeding. Before long, I had passed what I believe is the fetus, and I messaged him, I think I lost the baby. I wanted to keep him updated, and I guess I was seeking some kind of emotional support. I asked if he could come home, and he said, of course, if it's urgent. If it's urgent, she just said, I think I lost the baby. How is that not urgent? In what universe is that not urgent? I said, I think it is because the pain and bleeding is getting worse and I'm starting to feel lightheaded, and our 2-year-old is unattended in his playroom right now. We have no friends or family near that I could call who would get to us quicker than he could. I had to clean myself up, crawl downstairs to take paracetamol, make my son his lunch, and then put him down for a nap. At this point, my husband still isn't home. He was working approximately 30 minutes away and took closer to 60 minutes to get back. Hours later when I asked, it was because he'd stopped at Tesco to pick up some beers. Straight to the garbage. Get rid of the whole man. I ended up very poorly, losing lots of blood, lightheaded, vomiting, etc. And he had to take me to the emergency room. By the time I was discharged, it was almost 8 p.m. Last week, I had said I'd make him his favorite dinner for his birthday, which he reminded me when we were almost home. I said I wasn't feeling up to it and that whatever takeout he wants is on me. He said, for fuck's sake, under his breath, and then muttered something along the lines of, this bullshit has ruined my birthday. Yeah, dude, because that's the priority right now. He didn't stop to get any takeout. He just drove straight home. He put our son to bed and I went to bed, and I'm not sure what he did after. I didn't see him this morning as he had already left for work. He's not messaged me all day, and he got home a few hours ago. It's now 8:40 p.m., and he's been giving me silent treatment. I tried to speak to him about an hour or so ago, and he ignored me, and I called him a disgrace. He slammed the bedroom door and locked me out of the bedroom. His mom has since messaged me and said, I need to be patient as he's also had a loss. Girl, that does not seem like what he's mad about right now. His loss is that he didn't get to celebrate his birthday when his fucking wife just miscarried their baby. What do you mean he's also had a loss? She didn't ask how I was or anything. He's obviously speaking to his mom, but why isn't he opening up and speaking to me? She said I was harsh? The fuck? I'm sorry, y'all. Don't get me wrong. A miscarriage is traumatic to the father, too. If for some reason he actually is mad and he's just vocalizing it through something else, I guess his birthday. But either way, I think, and maybe this is the inner man hater in me, but I think that the priority is the woman who just had a miscarriage, was bleeding, vomiting, had to go to the hospital, and also passed her fetus out of her vagine, bro. Like, I'm sorry. You are not the priority, bro. Don't get me wrong, your feelings are important and you should definitely address them. But at that moment, your wife is the one who you cater to. But honestly, y'all, I severely doubt he actually gives a shit about that. I truly think he probably is like, well, this ruined my birthday. Wee woo. Oh no, woe is me. My poor birthday. I'm feeling utterly emotionally neglected right now. My body has been through emotional and physical hell. I understand that my miscarriage came at a fucking inconvenient time for him, as it was his birthday and all. I'm not sure if it's the hormones making me feel crazy, but is it nuts to contemplate divorce? Am I the a-hole for calling him a disgrace? No, girl. Listen, I'm sure this man was exhibiting red flags before. If these are the only red flags he's exhibiting, I think divorce is totally merited. It hurts me to know that this man has a child because he in himself is a fucking child. The way that he went about this situation is unacceptable. I know it's hard, and maybe he truly is just deflecting and saying that he's upset about his birthday or whatever, but either way, his actions and the way he's acting is not okay in this situation. I don't think there's any excuse for the absolute assery this man is putting on. Like, how will he be supporting his kid through tough times and losses? Exactly. Sorry, I'll plan my miscarriage better next time. No, for real. Like, what a fucking asshole, bro. She does need to divorce this man. Like, he really did show his true colors. You do not want a partner who's gonna fucking be this much of a little bitch when, like, something serious happens to you. Absolutely diabolical. We have a couple of comments from OP. OP clarifies, off topic, I'm on AL, annual leave, and return to work on Monday. I've already told a handful of my close coworkers that I am pregnant. I have no idea how to navigate this. What is the best way to tell people that I am no longer pregnant? Do I just say? Do I wait for them to ask? I feel so stupid for telling people so soon, so I put myself in this position. What's the least awkward way to address it so that there's absolutely no follow-up questions? I don't want to discuss it any more than I have to because I just keep breaking down. Thanks. A commenter replied, you tell the person you are closest to spread the news for you and tell them to make it clear you don't want to talk about it. Okay, that's actually a great answer. I wouldn't have known the answer to that one. So this commenter is saying that OP should go to their doctor to get signed off for work, basically get a doctor's note to take some time for themselves, which I actually agree with. OOP replied, are you in the UK? I'm in England. My doctor's surgery is closed until Tuesday because of the bank holiday weekend. Do you know if OOHGPs are able to sign me off work? No idea what that is. My work involves closely monitoring new members of staff, assessing them and signing them off to work independently. I need to be able to focus completely as there's no room for error and be smiley and friendly. I don't think I'm able to do this right now, but I'm not sure how to get signed off as I am back in work on Monday. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Damn, bro. God forbid you can tell your employer, hey, I just had a miscarriage. I need to take some time for myself. That's the type of employer I want to be, bro, is like my worker comes to me and is like, bro, I just had something traumatic happen to me. I can be like, bro, take some time to yourself. A commenter said, important. You are still at risk of infection at this juncture. It's still dangerous for you. Monitor your bleeding and temperature. Your marriage is over. How long you stay with him is up to you, but this man is neither husband nor father material. He cares more about his wants than you or your child's needs. It took a crisis like this to show you who he really is. Not the a-hole. I'm so sorry you're going through all this. OOP replied, I also have tonsillitis at the moment, so I'm feeling really rough. How will I know if a fever is from that or the miscarriage? I currently have a low-grade fever of 37.9 degrees Celsius, around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, but I'm not sure what it's due to. The bleeding is no longer heavy. Another commenter replied, honey, have you got a doctor to consult? Best to ask them. I don't know how to tell the difference. I just know I wound up with an infection and emergency D&C a week after a miscarriage. The bleeding didn't show for me, plus a slight fever. I didn't expect to be sick later. OP replied, I spoke with my doctor yesterday, and because of the bank holiday weekend, I can't have a scan until Tuesday to confirm everything has been passed. I spoke to a pharmacist today who said to try home remedies because he doesn't think it's severe enough for antibiotics at this point, as he could only see 3 white spots on my tonsils. Damn, this poor woman, bro. She has like no help right now. Like, not only can she not see a doctor, but then her husband's being a little baby back bitch. It looks like somebody made a comment about you can't hear a heartbeat at 8 weeks, and there's a deleted comment. I didn't mention anything about hearing a heartbeat. They don't listen to heartbeat through ultrasound here in England. They use Dopplers later on in the pregnancy. We saw the heartbeat flickering on the ultrasound after the technician smiled and pointed it out to us. By the sounds of things, you're lucky enough to have never been referred to EPAC for an early scan. I had a scan at 6 weeks and a scan at 8 weeks. You're kind of correct that the NHS do the first scan at 12 weeks, the dating scan. But unfortunately, not everyone has fucking straightforward pregnancies. Don't pull apart my story and try to invalidate my fucking miscarriage. I apologize for being short, but I had no sleep last night and I'm in so much pain. Then picked up my phone to see a commenter that my story is probably fake because some sheltered person has had the pleasure of not attending EPAC. What is EPAC? I have no idea what it is. Early Pregnancy Assessment Clinic. Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. A nurse-led outpatient clinic for women in early pregnancy between 6 and 19 weeks. Got it. And then we do have another comment from OP a few hours later. Fever is currently 38.5 degrees Celsius, 101.3 degrees Fahrenheit. I think I'm gonna have to head to A&E or their emergency room for peace of mind. Thank you guys for your advice. I'll try to respond to comments in regard to my husband when I'm feeling better and have recovered. It's just been a really hellish day and a half. And then there is a side post, April 19th, 2025. OOP posts screenshots of her NHS profile. So basically proving that she did in fact have a miscarriage, which said that she has to prove that, quote unquote, to people. And then there was a mini update in the comments, April 21st, 2025, 2 days later, 3 from the original post. I'm not sure how to do an update or if anyone will see this. I have left my husband. Me and my son are staying with family and are safe. I have another scan tomorrow to make sure I've passed everything successfully. Thank you to everyone who has reached out and offered advice. It's been really helpful. Plus, I started antibiotics for my tonsillitis on Saturday, and I'm already feeling much better. I mean, we've been saying big W wubbies that the fucking husband is gone. I think that's always the right answer. Y'all, I'm curious about this update. Please tell me you divorced his fucking bitch ass. Update came 3 days after the original post. I should have clarified in my original post from last week that the way my husband responded was completely out of character for him. He's usually a caring and supportive man and is a good husband and father. The only incident where he's shown any kind of red flags was when I put together an accent chair. I used a screwdriver to attach the legs to the seat, And when he came home from work and saw that I'd done it myself, he jumped on it until it broke to show that I didn't do it properly and that I should have waited for him to come home. That's honestly worse. Like, for him to be acting so caring and supportive, but then 180s and just... Oh, wait, hold on. Let me keep reading, actually. He'd been under lots of stress at work, so I asked him to go to therapy, which he did, instead of pulling the divorce card straight away. We have been together for 7 years in May, and he's the only partner I've ever known. My family all loves him and have accepted him from day one. Okay, so what I'm getting from this paragraph is he's a loving, caring, supportive man, good husband, good father, but when he endures any kind of stress, he acts like an immature asshole. Honestly, y'all, fucking I'll say it. I think she should have pulled the divorce card when he did this shit. Like, good for him for going to therapy, but A, clearly this isn't working, and B, I think how you act under stress to your partner says a lot about you as a person. Like, if you get stressed and you take it out on your partner, you're not ready for a relationship. High key hot take. Maybe this is just my perspective on relationships and how they should work, but genuinely, if you get stressed and your response is to treat your partner like shit, there is something wrong with you. When you're stressed, you should go to your partner for relief. You should go to your partner to healthfully be able to relieve that stress. If you get stressed and start treating your partner poorly, that is a problem. There is a clear issue there that you need to work on.
I still stand on that shit heavy, bro. Because I've been with plenty of girls who like use it as an excuse, bro. They use it as an excuse. They're like, I'm stressed right now and therefore I have to treat you like shit. I don't believe in that. Like, don't get me wrong. I totally understand a quick outburst here and there, but I think it's like, you can't let stress like bleed into the relationship.
That might be a hot take, but I think that is red flag behavior personally. The stress isn't the exception. It means he doesn't have the energy to keep his mask up. That's what I'm thinking. Don't get me wrong. I understand stress and like lashing out by like yelling at them a little bit or something like that. But if you're stressed and you're fucking cruel to your partner and you're not able to be like, okay, I'm stressed right now. I just lost my child to a miscarriage, but my wife had to actually go through the process of like pushing a dead fetus out of her body and like bled, vomited, had to be taken to the hospital. If you can't understand that like she's the priority and that you need to handle your stress on your own and be there for your partner, and then on top of that as well, his reaction to her, I lost the baby, is just inexcusable. No matter what kind of stress he's going through, I think that's a bad partner. You do not want someone there who's going to treat you like shit when they're stressed. I also should have clarified, yes, I know he was an a-hole in that scenario. I wasn't questioning that. What I was questioning was whether I took it a step too far in calling him a disgrace. He's going through a lot at work at the moment. It was his birthday. I'd been messaging him and telling him that I'd miscarried his child and he had to leave work early. And then I called him a disgrace after he'd taken me to the hospital and was responding to the grief in his own way. I think the majority of people said I was not the a-hole in this scenario and due to his behavior that my insult was justified. Thank you to everyone who reached out and checked in, offered condolences and emotional support. I've read all my messages and tried to read most of the comments. Most of them have been very kind and useful and have helped a lot over the past few days. I had a scan yesterday which confirmed that everything is passed successfully. Some people may remember that I was very worried about retained tissue due to my fever over the weekend. Also, my tonsillitis is fully cleared up, so I'm feeling almost back to normal physically. I left my husband. Me and my son are staying with family in a different part of the country, so we are safe and are managing. My husband did get very angry when I told him that I was leaving him. He tried to stop me from leaving with our son, put hands on me, and threatened to end his life. I mean, bro, this man is just a walking red flag. That was his moment to show remorse and feel sorry for how he was acting. My mom intervened, and like I said, we are safe. I have some time off work now, so I will continue to take time to recover emotionally and plan my next steps. Thank you if you read this far. I doubt there will be any more updates after this. I mean, I'm glad she left. That was red flag city. There were so many red flags there. I think she made the right move. If someone threatens to K-word themselves in a way to manipulate you, you just say, do it and walk out. It sucks if they actually were to do it, but like putting that on another human being is the highest, worst form of manipulation. Highest form. You should not let them manipulate you like that. That is never something that I think anybody should hold on their conscience, even if they follow through with it, because that is not your responsibility. It is not your responsibility to stay in an abusive situation with somebody who's willing to manipulate you like that. When he put his hands on me, he actually put his hands around my neck and was choking me, which was what is terrifying. Choking in an abuse situation is the number one indicator they will kill you. Oh, that actually kind of makes sense. I understand like work being stressful, but I don't think any amount of stress justifies his actions. Even just the jumping on the chair. That's not only mean, but that's like cruel. I think like healthy reactions to stress aren't taught. I think a lot of people are taught by their parents parents that when they're under stress, the reaction to that is to like be an asshole. When like, don't get me wrong, like I understand being an asshole just because you're like overstimulated, you're stressed, whatever, but it shouldn't be to a cruel extent. And this one was definitely cruel. So a commenter said, I'm glad you left him, but I'm concerned you'll go back based off how this post is written. You are still speaking about him like he's a good husband and you're justifying his behavior. Stop doing that. Make a therapy appointment for yourself. OOP replied saying he's not here to defend himself, so I'm trying to make it as fair as possible for both sides, so he's not made out to be a monster. I have a therapy session booked. I will not be returning to him as he's not someone that I want my son to grow up watching and witness that behavior thinking it's normal. So this commenter said, I think your husband is having a mental breakdown from work and has developed a narcissistic personality disorder, probably from the stress. OOP replied, I was thinking that maybe he was having some kind of mental breakdown and our miscarriage was the final straw. He said that when he stopped at Tesco to get some beers, it was for the both of us so we could drink our sorrows away. I was planning on getting him some help because he clearly needs it. He only acts insane when he's under immense pressure at work, genuinely. When he broke my chair, it was around the time of immense stress at work. But when he put his hands on me, he actually put his hands around my neck and was choking me, which is what is terrifying. I can't look at him the same, so I can't be the one to get him help. I'm looking into full custody and solicitors so that I never have to see him again. I think that's the right move. The comments at least make me feel more comfortable that she's not going to go back to this man and she's had enough. That's insane. I didn't know that stress could create narcissistic personality disorder, but that actually makes a lot of sense. Actually, now that I think about that, that makes a lot of sense based off of the shit that I've heard from people whose partners get super stressed and then are narcissists. Like, that's fucking crazy. I'm making the connection in my head about like a bunch of different, not only people that I've dated, but also people that like my friends have dated, my siblings have dated, and them having those personality traits, and it's all kind of around like very stressful times. So low key shit. Most personality disorders are caused by trauma, but I kind of don't like stress at work is going to cause a personality disorder unless the work is something extremely traumatic. The trauma from stress, I think, is less like a stab wound and more of like little cuts happening every day. I do think stress can be really impactful, but people brush it off as not actually something impacting them and their life and their personality. Even if the job is low stress, sustained periods of constant stress literally causes brain damage. No, 100%. As much as like stress doesn't go deep, if it's constant enough, it will go deep. It just might take a while. And in a lot of ways, it might be more dangerous because you think you're fine, but realistically, you're pulling out the Jenga pieces and eventually that Jenga tower is gonna fall. OP posted a final update June 2nd, 2025, 5+ weeks later. I'm guessing from the first update, but then 6+ weeks later from the original post. I need to start this off by asking that if anyone takes the time to comment, please do not leave negativity or insults as I'm extremely emotionally vulnerable and I truly feel terrible. When I updated about 5 weeks ago, I didn't think I'd have to make another update, but in short, I'd left my husband and he'd forcibly tried to keep me in the house by putting his hands around my neck. It was really frightening and in that moment made me feel completely confident in my decision to leave. Since that day, I haven't had any contact with my husband. As I was leaving, he was screaming that he'd K-word himself if I left. It's not the first time he's threatened this in our relationship, but I called his mom once I was in the car to let her know. She said she'd go over to see him and I didn't hear from her for another week or so. About 2 weeks ago, my husband was found dead in our family home. I'm angry, hurt, devastated, relieved, and most of all, guilty. I feel so guilty that he's dead. This is sad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not diminishing that. Like, suicide of any sorts is always sad, but this is not on you, girl. He made that decision himself. I feel so guilty that he's dead. If I hadn't have left, I'm certain he'd still be alive, but I can't be certain that I would be or that our son would be. I don't know how much sense I'm making. I just know that there were some people worried for mine and my son's safety. Please be kind. Please reach out to loved ones or local services if you're struggling. Damn, bro. Your safety and your son's safety way over this man. I'm sorry that happened. That shouldn't be anything that anyone ever feels like they need to resort to. But when you're using it as a manipulation tactic, I'm sure he wants her to feel guilty and feel like this is her fault. But like, I would just tell her it's really not. It's just really not. OP didn't do anything wrong, and I don't think OP should feel guilty. If she had stayed, he would have killed her and their son before killing himself, most likely. This is probably really fucked up to
say, but I'm sure him doing that to himself was gonna happen. It's just who else he took out with him. Like she was saying as well, for anybody who might be like, oh, well, she should have gotten him help. This man strangled her and threatened her. I think she was spot on when she said as soon as that happened, there was no going about getting him the help that he needed because that was no longer OP's place. Yeah, hopefully OP goes to therapy and talks that one out, but I really think the conclusion there is like, you shouldn't feel guilty. I think this was his final power play over her. Oh, 100%. He should have gotten more help. I feel bad he ended his life, but I'm glad OP is safe and her child is safe. This might be really fucked to say, but OP and her child are probably more safe than they would have been if he was alive. I don't know, sue me, but I think that's the truth right there. I don't know who needs to hear this, bro, but if your partner's pulling some shit like that, do not stay with them. Do not stay with them. I hope mother-in-law doesn't blame OP. She probably will. We already read beforehand. Like in this first paragraph, his mom messaged her saying that OP needs to be patient for the husband. Like the mother-in-law is definitely going to take it out on OP. I wonder what people are saying on the actual post. Do not feel guilty. If you would have stayed, he would have killed you, your son, and then himself, or he would be in jail for killing you. None of these outcomes are good. You did nothing wrong. You need a good therapist and you got loads of stuff to work through. I think that's very spot on. There should never be a reason to feel guilty or bad about somebody passing who tried to strangle you. I know you guys got history, you got a son together, but like that's just unacceptable behavior in any scenario.